Hello and welcome to this course on how to set your prices profitably. You will learn how to set your prices in a way that will ensure that you make profit in your business every time. My name is Ayomikun Titiloye and I'm a chartered accountant with over 8 years experience as an auditor. I'm also a small business owner and a consultant. Running my perfume and crochet businesses has helped me to identify certain challenges when it comes to certain prices. And in the course of my work, I have had a lot of business owners complain to me about pricing. And that is why I have taken the time to create this course. In this course, you will learn how to effectively define and calculate your actual cost and decide the pricing strategies that is best for your business. And to better explain this, I'll be using different examples and scenarios. And the knowledge of this course will help you to make good profits in your business when you apply them. By the end of this course, you will not only know how to set better prices in your business, but you'll be more knowledgeable about pricing and how it can affect the growth of your business. I want to encourage you to go through the entire course, even if you feel that your business has been used as an example in one scenario. Who knows? You may decide to start another line of business that another scenario will address. You will also have lifetime access to this course, and you can go through it over and over again at your own pace. In the next video, I'll be talking about certain aspects of pricing that you should know before you can start to set prices in your business. Once again, you are welcome to this course. Now let's get started. So, what is pricing? Pricing is the process of attaching value to a particular product or service that you offer. Pricing can determine whether your business can succeed or it fails. And I tell you, one of the most important things as a business owner is that you must take time to establish a time for your products. But unfortunately, a lot of people just leave money on the table and are mismanaging pricing, wasting money because they really don't know how to go about it. And that's why you are taking this course. So pricing is a process of attaching value to a particular product or service that you offer, and it is very, very important. In fact, it's an important aspect of a business that shouldn't be played with. So what are the importance of pricing? What's the hype about pricing? Why is it so important? Number one is it creates a perceived value for your product and services. And the second one is it determines the profitability of your business. Of course, there are so many reasons why pricing is important, not just to a business owner, but even to an economy, a country. But I'm just going to be limiting to these two because they are the most important for business owners. So how does pricing affect the perceived value of your product and services? I said it's one of the importance, right? So how does it affect it? It can affect how your customers and competitors feel about the product that you offer. Let me use an Ankara material for example. Once you go to a shop, or not even go to a shop, of course you're the seller in this case, you sell Ankara material and your customers come until you tell them how much that material is. They have no idea. Like they don't know. They don't even know how to differentiate whether it is big Ankara or a small Ankara until you have given them the price that you have attached to the product you are offering. So if your product is priced too low, even if the features are superb and better than your competitors, your customers may still think your product is of low quality, And if it is highly priced, your customers may just think that it's overly priced and you're trying to take advantage of them. So in most cases, your customers don't know the value of what you're offering them until you put a price to it. Let's go to the next one. Pricing determines your profits. We all know that price is a basis of generating profit in your business. Still using that Ankara material as an example. If you sell an Ankara material, say at 2,500 naira per yard, if you reduce that price, let's say you're selling at 2,000 naira, you know that you are eroding part of your profit. It's going to take a part of your profit. And I tell you, but the thing is, you reducing that price might actually make people buy from you more, because they're like, oh my god, that means I can buy 4 yards. I need to sew one beautiful abaya gown. Do you understand? So a 5% change in price could lead to a positive or negative 5% or 50% in your profit, depending on how you manage your pricing. So you see that pricing is a very, very important aspect of your business and should never should not be taken for granted. We're moving on to issues affecting pricing, of which inflation tops that list. Then we have disposable income, we have competition, and business cost. So what is inflation about? Inflation is rising prices of goods and services, and this can affect your business. Inflation is affecting businesses all over the world. We have increase in prices of commodities like fuel, like gas, rent, real estate. A lot of things are being affected, and there is no way increase in prices will not affect your own business, and it also results in value of money being reduced by your customers. So the amount that the number of things that they would usually buy from you because of inflation is likely to reduce. So it is important that you adjust your prices. We'll get to that point where you'll be able to set your price later. So let's move on to disposable income. The second one is disposable income, and this is the amount of money that your customers can spend, and this can also affect how you set your prices. When disposable income of your customers increases, that's their income after they've paid their taxes. When their income increases, of course, you know that they are bound to buy more from you. But when the disposable income is reducing and they're spending so much money on other things, that means the money that they're going to be spending in your business will reduce. So this can also affect how you set your prices. The third on the list is competition. The prices set by your competitors can also determine your price. How? Nobody wants to fix his or her price without considering competition, unless you're a monopoly. And even if you're the only one in the market offering that particular product, you will still have to consider the prices of those who sell alternative products to your own. So you will not say, oh, because I'm the only one selling this product, I can fix my prices anyhow. What if your customers have access to products that can be used instead of your own, that can be substituted for your own? So at one point in time, the prices set by your own competition, your competitors, has the power to affect your own price. And the most important one on this list is business costs. Your business costs affect your pricing in a lot of ways. And when you know your business costs, it's easier for you to set profitable prices in your business. How? If the cost of running your business is high, you're spending so much on rent, you're spending so much on fuel, you're spending so much on electricity, spending so much on delivery, on transportation, then your prices will be affected. You're spending so much on salaries, on labor costs, your prices will be affected in one way or the other. And it is normal that the price of your product must be sold at least at a price that is higher than your business cost, which we're going to get to in the next module. Welcome back. In this module, you are going to learn how to calculate the actual unit cost of the product that you sell, which is important if you want to set your prices profitably. Your actual cost is the sum total of all the money spent in buying or creating a particular product. I'll be treating 3 different scenarios, which are buying and reselling physical products, manufacturing physical products where you have to mix or weigh ingredients, and a situation where you make handcrafted items. You will also learn how to use templates to calculate your actual cost to buttress these 3 scenarios, which will be in downloadable forms so you can have access to it and use it later. So let's get into it. So we're moving on to scenario 1, which has to do with resellers of physical products. If you fall within these categories, you sell bags of rice, jewelries, shoes, accessories, kitchen utensils, and so on, then this is applicable to your business. Now, we're going to use an example of you buy and resell physical products, and we'll be using the example of shoes, bags, earrings, and leather wallet, just limited to those items alone. So how do you arrive at your actual cost? You went to the market, you bought this beautiful product for your customers, but your stock. How do you arrive at your actual cost? So we're going to assume that the products are within the same price range. Of course, it's not as if you're buying 1 dozen of bags and maybe 6 of them cost a particular amount, another one costs another amount. No, we are going to assume that all the products are within the same price range, just for this example. So let's go. So you took 200,000 naira to the market, and this is what you bought. You bought 2 dozens of handbags, which is 96,000 naira. You bought 1 dozen pair of shoes, 60,000. You bought 2 dozens of earrings. You bought 6 pieces of leather wallets, 15,000 naira. Your transport costs, cost of taking yourself from your location to Lagos. Or let's even assume that you actually paid for somebody to bring in these items for you. So you had to pay so much because they are so heavy. And the person collected 10,000 naira, transport and delivery. Recharge card. You were calling your suppliers. It was so difficult to get to some shops when you got to the market. You had to call them. I couldn't find your address. So, you ended up spending 2,000 naira on recharge card expenses. And by afternoon time, you were tired. Hey, who would go round Idumota market and you will not want to, take care of yourself. So you just went into one eatery and you bought yourself a beautiful, nice, heavy lunch. 4,000 naira. At the point you were tired, the load was heavy, so you had to call somebody. Please, can you help me just take this from from this shop? The person was following you from one point to the other until you finish buying everything. So let's just say you pay the luggage carrier 1,000 naira. Now you want to determine what's the actual cost of each of these items that you bought. You bought 2 dozens of handbags. What's the cost of 1 handbag, so that you'll be able to determine how much you want to sell it? How much does a pair of shoe cost? How much does a pair of earrings cost? You want to know the actual cost of the wallet that you bought, so that you'll be able to get your pricing right. Now, if you use the cost of buying the items alone, this will be wrong. How? Let's look at it. So you bought handbags, you bought them for 96,000 naira, and you bought 2 dozens. That's 24 pieces. Now, if you be dividing the amount you paid divided by the number of items that you bought, that will give you 4,000 naira. For shoes, 60,000 divided by 12, that means a pair of shoes costs 5,000 naira. Same for earrings, same for the wallet that you bought. But this would be wrong. And why is it wrong? It's wrong because you have not included, you haven't included the other expenses. You spent money to transport yourself to the market, the recharge card, the lunch that you ate, the money you pay to the luggage carrier, everything has to be included because they are directly related to those expenses. Now, if you look at the cost of each of them, they add up to 17,000 naira. They add up to 17,000 naira. Let's see. Your transport cost is 10,000. Your recharge card is 2,000. Your lunch is 4,000. Luggage carrier is 1,000 naira. So everything is adding up to 17,000 naira. Okay, so how do we share the cost of these expenses? Using the weight and quantity of each item, which is like a safe way to share the cost. The weight of each item. Handbags. The handbags were heavy. Oh, I went through so much stress. And let me say, you went through so much stress buying those handbags. You had to comb the market, for the handbag. So you can use the weight of the item, the quantity, the stress that you went to be able to assign these other costs to the items that you bought. And we assign them in form of percentages. So we're assigning 50% to the handbags, 25% to the shoes, earrings. Of course, they are very light, so using 10% for them. Wallet, 15%. You can decide to use any percentage for yourself. In reality, you can say, okay, fine, you want to use 70%, and the other ones you want to use 10% for them, but everything has to be equal to 100%. So sharing the cost of other expenses to your handbag, you have 17,000 times, of course, 50%. For shoes, still the same 17,000 times 25%. Same for earrings and same for wallet. If you add all this together, this will still give you 17,000. So at this stage, we have successfully shared the cost of our other expenses to the items that we bought. Now we need to add them to it. So there's an easy formula for calculating the actual cost of each item. There's an easy formula for it, and it is your purchase cost plus your shared expenses divided by the number of items that you bought, and I'll give you the actual cost of the item. So using that formula, instead of just saying 96,000 divided by 24 like I did earlier, you're going to be adding the shared expenses. That's the cost of lunch, luggage carrier, transport, and those other expenses. You're adding it to the cost before dividing it by the number of the items that you bought. So for handbags, you have 96,000 plus 8,500 divided by 24. Of course, the total will give you 104,500 divided by 24. You get 4,354.17. It's important that you do not approximate it. Even if you want to approximate, make sure that you're approximating to the higher side. For example, if you want to approximate this amount, instead of saying, okay, I want to round it off, the better to round off to a higher side, like, okay, maybe let me just assume my bag cost 4,500, not lower than that amount, because you'll be reducing the cost at which you actually bought those items. So let's go to shoes. You do the same for shoes. 60,000 that you spent on buying a dozen of shoes plus the shared costs. That's the shared expenses. You do the same for earrings. Of course, you bought more earrings, but because they are light, the cost is not as expensive as the other ones. Then wallet, you do the same for wallet, and you have this amount. So let's compare a supposed actual cost, which we did at the beginning, and the real actual cost. What's the difference? How much are we losing? How much are we gaining? So if you decide to calculate the actual cost of your product based on purchase price alone, using this scenario, that means your handbags, you just assume your handbag costs 4,000 naira, one pair of shoes costs 5,000 naira, one pair of earrings costs 500 naira, and one wallet costs 2,500 naira. And if you did your calculation properly, like we did, based on the purchase price and considering other expenses, you share them appropriately, you would have this. One handbag would cost 4,354.17. Your shoes, one pair of shoes will cost 5,354.17. Your earrings cost 570.83, and your wallet costs 2,925. Now, if you're going to be looking at the difference between these two, it means that if you base your cost based on purchase price alone, you will be losing 354 naira extra on each item that you sell. We've not even fixed our prices yet, but if you fix your price based on 4,000 naira, that means you'll be losing 354 naira. Same for shoes, you'll be using another 354 naira on each item. Now, if you add all those amounts together, they are actually material, and that's why it's important that you consider the other costs that you've incurred before you decide your price. So you have other products that fall under this category. You're somebody that you sell fabrics, you sell bags, you sell shoes, you sell perfumes, you sell physical products, baby clothes, kitchen utensils. The list is endless. This is a very good way to calculate your actual cost. So in the template that we'll be going to now in the next lesson, I'll be able to, we'll put this on the template and see how it looks. So you might not even bother to say, oh, I want to start calculating my cost though. How do I know? If I'm using the spreadsheet, using the template, at a glance, you know how much your actual cost is on each product or item that you're selling. Okay, so we're moving on to the template to calculate your actual cost. So this is a template for people that you buy and resell physical products. This is for you. So let's go to the main template. Yes, so here you have a template guide, and the dark colored portion is where you have the description. You have a serial number, you have items, you have your total purchase cost. Let's go to serial number. For serial number, at least you can enter items up to the end of the sheet. That's 1,048,575 items. So it takes a lot of data. You can enter in a lot of data for your business. Then you have items. The description, it shows the description of items. Then the total purchase cost, that's the amount you're actually paying for the item. You have the quantity, pieces that you're buying, or the unit of measurement. It could be in grams, or but as long as you're buying and selling physical products, this is for you. Then you also have your shared cost, and like I said earlier, your shared cost is the other expenses multiplied by whatever percentage you decide to assign to it. And of course, this will give you the unit cost. So this is the portion for the description. So moving on to the next template guide, we have formula contained cells. These cells here, there are formulas there, and this is where the magic actually happens. So you're expected, or it's advisable, that you leave this portion alone so that you can get the desired result. And the gray colored portion here is where you can enter your information. So basically, this is how the template looks like for those who buy and resell physical product. So using the previous example, using the scenario 1 example, let's enter our data. So you went to the market, took 200,000 to the market, and you bought different items. So let's enter it. You bought handbags. for 96,000. How many pieces? You bought 2 dozens, that's 24 pieces. We'll come back to the shared cost later. The next one is pair of shoes. You bought them for 60,000. You bought 1 dozen, that's 12 pieces. The next one, you bought earrings. Okay, I'm correct. You bought earrings for 12,000, and you actually bought 2 dozens, that's 12 times 2, that's 24 pieces or 24 pairs of earrings. Then of course leather wallet, so let's just put let me put leather wallet for the sake of this example. Leather wallet. So you bought leather wallet for 15,000. You bought 6 pieces. So this is a portion for your shared cost. Like the calculation we did, other expenses multiplied by the assigned percentage. So based on the example we did earlier, by the time we calculated all our shared costs, that's the cost of lunch, transport costs, luggage carrier, and all those things, we had 17,000. And you know, you can go back to that slide, to that explanation, where you see how we share the cost if you are not clear. So we're going to put in the shared cost here. So for transport we had 8,000. Oh, and before that, you can see that we have unit cost here. That's the original unit cost before we insert our shared cost. So this one shows us at a glance how much we have. You get what our actual cost is without including our other expenses. So let's put the other expenses. For handbags we had 8,500. Of course it has changed. For shoes we had 4,250. For earrings we had 1,700. And for the leather wallets, the amount shared was 2,550. Yes. So if you see this, there's a total of 17,000. Yeah, there's a total of 17,000. And you see our unit costs here. Now, if you want to go a step further, like I said, this template takes a lot of information for your business, especially if you're buying and reselling. You have so many items in stock and you want to be sure of your unit cost. You can go ahead and put a date if you want, so you can be able to know, oh, at the time I bought this item, this is how much I bought it. This is how much I bought it. You can go ahead and put your date here if you want. So it's advisable that you follow this template guide. Like I said earlier, this column, leave it as it is and you always get your desired result. Yeah, one more thing. In this example that we used, we assume that if your products are within the same price range, you're buying handbags, you know, there's no difference in prices, you're buying all of them, assume you are buying all of them at the same price. That was at 4,000 naira. All your shoes, we're buying them at the same price. In scenarios where they are not within the same price range, it is always advisable that you group them separately. So let's say you had handbag, you can put handbag set 1, or you have a way you color coded. Or let me use handbag. Let me use another example. You have perfumes. Yeah, you sell perfumes. Now let's see, perfumes, you have different sizes. You have 100 ml, you have 25 ml. So you want to say, okay, my 100 ml perfumes, regular. Do you understand? And I bought all of them for 200,000. No, let me use 20,000. I bought all of them for 20,000 and I bought 5 of them. That means the cost is 4,000 naira. I've not added my shared cost yet. Now I'm still buying 100 ml perfumes. Oh, why is it typing 0? I'm still buying another set of 100 ml perfumes. Of course, there should be a way that you identify the items in your store. You get maybe 100 ml perfumes, let's say luxury. Yeah, so you see that it is the same. If you see this, let's say 100 ml perfume luxury, let's say 50,000 naira, and you bought still 5 of them. Of course, let's say assign cost between the two of them, you spend 1,000 and say let's just say 500. So now if you have you have the same item but they are not within the same price range, it is advisable that you group them separately so that it will not tamper with the calculation of your actual costs. In the last lesson, I showed you how to calculate the actual cost if you are someone who buys and resell physical products. So in this lesson, we'll be talking about how to calculate actual costs for those who actually manufacture what they sell. This is for manufacturers of products. You do a lot of measurements, you mix ingredients together. You're into production of liquid soap, spices, body cream, scented candles, items that can be measured. Then this is for you. So in this scenario, we're going to be meeting this beautiful lady. I'll meet Lola. Her name is Lola, and she mixes and sells packaged food spices. So in this scenario, we're going to talk about how she determines the actual production cost of a bottle of spice. Oh, and for this, we're going to be looking at the curry masala spice. So one of the ingredients that's one of the spices that Lola makes is curry masala spice. She also makes jollof rice spice, fried rice spice, pepper soup spices, and all other ones. So so we're going to be using this one as an example. The ingredients that she uses for a curry masala spice, so she bought 2 cups of turmeric, 6 cups of coriander, fennel seeds, cumin seeds, mustard seed, rosemary, fenugreek, and of course she spent money on grinding expenses and transporting herself to get these ingredients. We also have other expenses. So for our spice business, of course, she incurred 8,000 naira. She bought 200 pieces of sticker, containers for packaging the spices, 1,005, and branded nylon 100 pieces, which is 7,000 naira. So taking a look at this cost incurred, we want to calculate how much does a bottle of curry masala spice, how much does it cost? How much does it cost Lola to make a bottle of curry masala spice? Oh, the total for other expenses 16,500. After mixing and grinding all the ingredients, she gets 1,100 grams of curry masala spice. That's wonderful. And that means that using 7,000 worth of ingredients, the fenugreek, the cumin seeds and all, she got 1,100 grams. Now what do we need this for? We need to calculate how much 1 gram costs. She'll be packaging these things inside a bottle, and she needs to know how much a gram costs so that it will be easy for her to put to calculate how many grams she's going to be putting in a bottle. So here in our calculation, we have 1 gram is equals 7,000 worth of ingredient divided by the 1,100 grams, and it's giving us 6 naira 36 kobo. That's 1 gram of curry masala spice. And don't forget that she has other expenses that she incurred. She needs to find out the cost of each of those things. For example, now she bought stickers. She can't use all the 200 pieces of sticker just for one bottle. She needs to know the cost of one sticker that she'll be putting on the bottle, which is 8,000 divided by 200 pieces. That's 40 naira each. So one sticker actually costs 40 naira each. The containers she's going to put the spice into 1,500. Of course, cost 1,500 divided by 12 pieces, and the container costs 125 naira. Now note that if she incurred any other transport cost in buying these sticker containers, it will be added to it. I will illustrate those things better when we're using the template. So she also has branded nylon, which is 7,000 naira divided by 100 pieces. That's 70 naira each. So looking at this unit cost, that means for each bottle of curry masala spice, she'll be using a sticker, which is worth 40 naira each. She'll be using a container costing 125 naira each, and the branded nylon, which is 70 naira each. She needs to put all this cost into consideration when she is packaging a spice. So to know the actual production cost of one bottle of curry masala spice, she's using 73 grams of the grounded spice that she has. So let's see how she's going to package it. So the curry spice, that's curry masala spice, that's 73 grams multiplied by the unit cost of a gram. The unit cost, how much a gram of curry masala spice cost. So that's 465 if you multiply it. Cost of a sticker, like we calculated earlier, 40 naira. Cost of a container, and cost of the branded nylon, which is 70 naira. Now adding up all these costs together, we'll have the unit cost of a bottle of curry masala spice is 700 naira. So this is the cost that she incurred just on one bottle. Now imagine she's going to be packaged, she's going to be using all the containers that she bought. She needs to know the actual cost of one bottle before she can effectively fix a price, before she can set a price to make enough profits. So in the next lesson, I'll be discussing the template in details, how to use the template and how to use the template to get the unit costs of production for those who manufacture their own products and sell. Okay, so we're back to see how the template works for people that manufacture their own product. So like the last example that we looked at Lola, and how she calculates actual costs for curry masala spice. So we're just going to move on to this point. So this is how the template looks like. Let's look at the template guide. For the sake of repetition, of course, the dark colored parts of the template is for description, shows the items that you're supposed to enter. You have a portion for the product. So here you have curry masala. You can delete if the product you want to calculate your cost for is let's say scented candle, strawberry scented candle, you can put it there. If it's fried rice ingredient, you can put it there. So you get so let's go back. Curry masala spice, yes. So we have a portion for the material cost, the quantity in cups, which is a unit of measurement, the cost per quantity, and the total. Then going down, we have material and packaging unit cost. That is all the other costs that Lola has used. We'll be putting them here. So this is actually for the description. transport cost, other costs, you paid someone to do it for you, labor costs, and every other cost that you want to add to your process of production, you're free to include it here. So another part of the template guide, of course, the formula, we have where the formula content cells are, which are these columns, and you're advised to leave it as it is, because this is what will actually give the result that you need without stress. And the gray colored portion, which is the last part, is where you enter your information, and data can be included in the gray boxes. Also, you can put your text or numbers. Then for your transport costs can be substituted for delivery costs. Quantity or cups or grams represent the unit of measurement. And I explained earlier, other costs are costs directly incurred in a production process other than transport and material costs, which could be grinding, labor costs, and so on. So let's move on to enter the details of the ingredients used in the production of curry masala spice, and let's see what the template will give us. So from the last example, you had turmeric. Okay, this is turmeric. Okay, T-U-M-E-R-I-C. Turmeric. Lola bought 2 cups of turmeric at 200 naira, which will give us a total of 400 naira each. You have coriander. We have 6 cups of coriander at 300 naira each. That'll give us 1008. We have fennel seeds. 2 cups of fennel seeds, which is 300 naira each. We have cumin seeds. This curry masala spice must be very sweet, because the ingredients are much. So we have 2 cups of cumin seeds, 500 naira each. It gives us 1000. Now we have mustard seed. A cup of mustard seed costs 2000 naira, so she bought half. That's 1/2. Half cup, which will give us a cup, which is 1000 naira. Rosemary seeds. Is this seeds or leaf? I'm not sure. So we have rosemary. We have 2 cups of rosemary. Okay, I see it. 2 cups of rosemary at 400 naira. We have fenugreek. Oh, just press Ctrl Z if you made a mistake, and it will take you back to where you stop. You have fenugreek seeds. You have 1 cup, which is 400 naira. I think we're done with our ingredients. We don't want to put our transport and grinding here because it doesn't have any quantity of measurement, so we'll be doing that here. So how much does this give us? This is 6000 naira. Awesome. And it's shown here already that our total material cost is 6000 naira. Okay, so Lola incurred 500 naira on transport for when she wanted to grind or transport to the market. Then other costs, which in this case we have grinding costs. This place is still bare, so we need to put the quantity that we got. Like I explained earlier in the example, by the time she finished grinding and mixing, she got 1100 grams, and that would give us 6.36 naira unit cost. Now for the other expenses, she bought sticker, which is 200 pieces and 8000 naira. So we got the unit costs of it automatically calculates the unit cost of a sticker too. Then we have a container and 1 dozen, that's 12 pieces at 1500 naira. And branded nylon, branded nylon, or maybe tamper-proof nylon, each whatever cost that you incurred, tamper-proof nylon, stickers. So we have branded nylon, 100 pieces. She bought it for 7,000 naira. So we can see at a glance that we have the details of all the unit costs that we have. So it is left to you to, you can use, if you know how to use Excel very well, you can calculate this, multiply this by the number of grams you'll be putting in, because this times, she uses 73 grams. Of course, she'll be bringing forward this amount to know your total cost. And if you calculate this together, you're saying this is 700 naira. Or to make it easy, if you don't know how to use Excel, just simply take a piece of paper. You want to calculate your costs, multiply whatever unit cost is giving you for your total materials, and include the unit cost of every other item that you spent money on, to be able to bring your product to a finished state. So this is what we have on the template for unit costs for those who manufacture their product. So like I explained earlier, before I forget, I mentioned transport cost. Now imagine Lola incurred extra costs in bringing the sticker down. Let's say the sticker is in the person that produced the sticker is in another location, far from her. She can put the transport cost here, and I tell you, as little amount as 500 naira will change the unit cost of whatever item that has been calculated, even if it's 50 naira. You see, in this case, depending on how much you incur. So it's very important that you put every cost forward, because this will help you at the long run to set profitable prices for whatever product that you're selling. So I've explained how as a business owner, if you're into buying and reselling physical products, or you're making your own product and you have to mix or weigh ingredients, how to calculate the actual cost of your product. So we're on to scenario 3, and this is for makers of handcrafted items. So if you're a crocheter, you're a knitter, you bake, you make shoes, you make jewelries, you make handcrafted items, this is for you. And for makers of handcrafted items, the major issue for us is calculating our labor cost. We take our labor cost for granted. So I'll be explaining some of these things under this scenario. So for those in the craft industry where you don't have to mix or weigh ingredients, you have to consider 2 major things. Your material costs, those are the cost of materials bought to make a handcrafted items. You're buying a pair of leather, you're buying beads, you're buying accessories, you're buying zips. Think of it, your material cost is very, very important. But just as your material cost is important, your labor cost is very, very important. In fact, it should be treated with utmost importance, because you have to calculate your cost in such a way that values your skill and your time. And sometimes even your material cost is something very little, but your labor cost is what carries the weight here. In if you're in the craft industry. So let's use example. Oh, a beautiful crochet bag. So a crocheter makes a handbag and wants to know the actual cost of the bag before putting a price on it. How much did I spend to make this bag? That is always the question with people that make craft items. How much value do I place on this paper box that I made? How much value should I place on this shoe that I make? Let's go. First, calculate your material cost. For this bag, the crocheter needs three balls of yarn at 850 naira per ball, which is 2,550 if you multiply 850 times 3. Of course, you went to the market, you bought the yarn, so transport cost is 500 naira, depending on how much you're spending. So for this example, we're going to be using just 500 naira. And of course, accessories, buttons, zips, clasp, accessories, anything that you use, to make your product stand out or unique from somebody else's own, because that's a point of the handcraft industry. So we have a total material cost of 3,850 if you add all this together. 2,550 plus 500 plus 800 will give us this amount. Then you calculate your labor cost. This seems a bit straightforward, but there's a but there. So your labor cost is usually calculated using the hourly rate and time spent. How long did you spend making that particular product? How long did you spend making that particular product? Now, to determine your hourly rate, you might need to do a market research about the rate within your industry. How much does my colleagues charge? How much are we expected to charge? For example, now for somebody that makes wigs, how much does my other wig maker charge? For somebody that makes shoes, how much do I charge per hour? And for people that they use a fixed rate, you just simply multiply your fixed rate times 1. So for this bag, the beautiful crocheted handbag, you have your hourly rate 1,000 naira. Then the time spent to make that bag, you spent 2 hours making it. So labor cost is 1,000 multiplied by 2 hours, that's 2,000 naira. So the actual cost of making the bag is simply material cost plus the labor cost, and this is it, 3,850 after we've looked at the materials that we've used and the labor cost, which is 2,000 naira, and total production cost or the total unit cost of that particular item is 5,850. So it's important that you know the amount that you're spending in bringing your product, the raw material, to a finished product. There are cases where you have to buy a pack of beads. It's not possible to calculate the pack of. In fact, if you have a pack of beads, or probably you bought a full leather, and you use a portion of it, you have to find a way to calculate the actual amount that you spent. That's the actual portion of that leather that you used in making your product. So I'll be explaining some of this better using the template, and let's go there. So here's the template for handcrafters, how to calculate the unique cost of the product that you make. And like I explained earlier, your labor cost is a very, very important part of your calculation. So using the example that we used earlier, excuse me, let me go to our template guide. You have a description for the sake of repetition. The dark colored part is for description, where you have your quantity, your grams, materials that you use, the costs, transport costs, and unit costs. The unit cost, this portion is for formula contained cells, while the gray portion is where you enter your information. So like I said earlier, we have two parts. We have a material cost, including accessories that you use for your product, and your labor cost. So labor cost here is where you enter the name of each person that actually contributed to the process, and the unit cost. So let's move on. So the product that we have is, we have a crochet handbag. the material cost, we use 3 pieces, or sorry, 3 balls of yarn. 3 balls of yarn. So if you're using different types of yarn, or you're mixing materials, please, it's important that you specify them, especially if they don't come at the same cost. If you're buying one part of your material for let's say you're buying leather material, we have different kinds of leather. You're buying soft leather, hard leather, there are different costs. Please, it's important that you differentiate them if the amount you spent on it are different. So the cost of a yarn is 850, using the example that we used earlier, and transport cost is 500. Then our accessories, we use let's say 3 buttons. 3 buttons. We have 3 buttons times 50 naira, that's 150. Oh, sorry, 50 naira, that's 150. Handle, I'm just using this as an example. 1 handle, so you know how the template works. Handle, let's say 550. So our total cost is for the yarn, we have 3,050. We have 150 for buttons. We have 550 for handle. Now, for people that make handcrafted items, you usually store up your materials. You have yarns, you have leather, you buy them in bulk. So it is important that when you are using the template, it is advisable that you use the cost that you actually use in the production process. What is in the production process? So that is for our material costs. We have a total of 3,750. Now, for people that are involved in the process, of course, we have a serial number. So employee or intern, let's say a name is Demilade. Yes, Demilade is a crocheter, and the hourly rate is 1,000 naira. The time spent, she spent 2 hours making that bag, 2 hours, and this is 2,000 naira. By the time she'll be adding up the cost, this is 5,750. Like I explained earlier, for people that have a fixed rate, for calculating, let's say you're making a particular show, you're making a particular paper box, you're making a particular handcrafted items, and you decide that this is the amount that you charge for your labor. For every shoe I make, my own labor cost is 5,000 naira. And this is very different from your profit margin, which we'll get to when we get to the time when I explain the types of pricing furthermore in this course. So we have our total cost here, which is total material cost plus total labor cost, 5,750. This is the actual unit cost of a handbag. By now, you should have an understanding of what it means to share your expenses, to derive the actual cost of the physical product that you sell or the manufactured product that you make. You've also learned how to calculate your labor costs and how the omission of a particular cost, for example, transport cost, can affect your pricing directly. Due to the nature of your business, of course, you know best the cost associated with the line of your business. And by now, you should know that every cost you incur is important, especially if you can relate it directly to your production process. Letting the cost go simply means that you are letting a part of your profits go. The templates are supposed to help you in the calculation of your actual unit cost, and it is advisable that you use them. See you in the next module. In this module, you will learn about the 3 different pricing strategies that you can use to set your prices at a profitable level. During these lessons, you will also get to know the advantage and disadvantages of each strategy and how a particular strategy is good for some businesses. The last lesson in this module will show you how you can combine those strategies together to set prices that will offer you more profits and help you grow your business. Let's get into it. So we're at cost-based pricing, and this is the first method that I'll be looking at when it comes to setting profitable prices for your product. And under cost-based pricing, you basically decide your price based on the actual cost of production, manufacturing, and distribution of a product. So remember in the previous lesson when I talked about finding out or calculating the unit actual cost of your product, this is it. You're basing your prices based on that actual cost of production, your transport cost, your delivery cost, labor cost, and every other cost incurred to be able to bring that product to the point where you can sell it. And you determine your prices by simply adding a percentage of that business cost to determine the price of your product. So it's left to you to choose whatever percentage that suits you and is profitable enough for your business. So you can decide to sell 30%, 50%, 20%, 10%, depending on what works for you and what kind of industry you're in. Using cost-based pricing is a very good option for people who make their own product. Like, you just put a percentage of your business cost after considering your labor cost, all those things that we talked about. But it can also be used by any business. So it doesn't matter whether you're buying and reselling product, or you are making you make handcrafted items. You can use this method for any business that you're doing. So how do you use cost-based pricing? You simply decide on a percentage of the actual cost of your product and apply that percentage to your actual cost to determine your selling price. Simple, right? And it's straightforward. So let's take an example. You see these slippers, beautiful. The actual cost of these slippers is 5,000 naira, and you decide to add 50% of the actual cost, that's 2,500, to it. That gives you a selling price of 7,500 naira. So it means that just adding a percentage to your costs as low as 50%, you have your selling price. You're buying something for 5,000, you're selling for 7,500. You're making profit automatically. Even if you set your pricing at, let's say, 20%, you're still going to make profit. And that's one of the benefits of using this method. It's very straightforward and it's easy to calculate. Like, you can set your prices and go to sleep. Rest assured that you are going to make a profit. You're not going to be running at a loss. Also, for every sale at that price, you will always make a profit. Even if you set your percentage at 10%, at 2%, at 20%, 50%, 100%, you are sure that you will always make a profit. But you could lose extra profit or make less sales if you use this method. How? If your competitors are selling at a higher price than what you're basically selling, that means you're losing extra profit. Let's take that slippers again, for example. After setting your price at 7,500, basing that price on your business cost or your actual cost, if your competitors are selling it at, let's say, 8,000 naira, that means for every sale that your competitor is making, you're kind of losing 500 naira compared to them. And if your competitors are selling at lower than that price, let's say your competitors are selling at 7,000, 6,500, it means that your your customers are likely to go to your competitors to buy because of the low price that they are selling, if they actually maintain their own quality. So if you actually stick to this strategy, you might be losing extra profit or make less sales. Another scenario where you could lose extra profit or make less sales is when your product is in high or low demand and you still choose to stick to your cost-based pricing. When product is in high demand, we know that it's a time for sellers to make more money. You can tweak your prices according to how people are buying and you can make more money. But if your product is in low demand, people are not really asking for it, and you choose to still remain on the cost-based price that you have fixed, then you know that your customers might not come to you. So it's really up to you to decide, is cost-based pricing, is it meant for me? Can I adopt this strategy? Let me give you an example of a company that uses this strategy, and I tell you that it's workable. There's a company called Everlane, and they deal with modern essentials like clothing, bags, accessories, like a boutique, but a big boutique you get abroad, and they use cost-based pricing for setting their prices. So it's easy to even tell their customers that, okay, whenever prices increase, you simply reflect on their pricing as, okay, this is a pricing that this is what we are basing our prices on, and it's because our cost has increased, that is why our selling price has actually increased. So it's a very good option for you if you're considering using cost-based strategy for your business. It saves you from explaining a lot to customers about why your prices are changing, because hey, everybody can say it is inflation period. So the side is cost-based pricing strategy for me. Is it for my business? So when I talk about the other pricing strategies, you'll be able to weigh them together, compare, and probably decide on which strategy you want to combine or mix together to be able to set your prices at a profitable level. So we're here at the cost-based pricing template. Like I explained earlier, is one of the simplest method that you can use, and very effective because it just entails you using a percentage of your business costs. And so this is how the template looks like. You have the heading. Let's go to the template guide. I'm sure by now you would have been used to it. So you have the deep colored cells for the description, which is here. It shows you what each column is for, and the light colored cells is where the formulas are. As you can see up here, this is where the formulas are and will reflect once you add in your data. So you have where you have your formula for your unit selling price, your total sales, your gross profit projected, and this is where you enter your information, the gray colored cells. So when using this strategy, you determine your prices by adding a percentage of your business cost to your selling prices to make a profit. You simply decide a percentage that you will add to your cost of production and set that as a price for your product. Markup percentage, which is this one, is a percentage that you add based on your unit cost derived. So whatever unit cost that you've arrived at in the first template where we talked about, you can put it here. And this strategy is great for retailers who sell physical products, and not only that, it's great for almost every business, if you ask me. So let's use a data. Our unit actual costs, let's say we're trying to find a cost for our bags. You can decide to put the head in here. So let's say bags. So you're somebody that buys and sell products, and you're selling bags. Your unit actual cost of the bag is, let's say, 6,000 naira. and you bought 50 units. 50. Now let's look at how fixing your percentage, let's see how it affects your profitability. Like you can see here, this is the unit cost, 60 times 50. That's the number of units that you want to sell. It gives you automatically 300,000. That means by the time you would have finished selling your 50 bags, you would have this amount as your sales. Now let's see our percentage. As of now, the unit selling price is still the actual cost because we've not fixed our markup percentage. So let's put our percentage at, well, let's start high. Let's say 50%. Oh my god, that means if we set our markup percentage at 50%, you will have your unit selling price to be 9,000 naira, and your total sales is 450,000, while your gross profit also reflect that percentage. So now imagine you want to reduce it or you want to increase it. Let's see the effect. Let's say my markup percentage is 30%. So at a glance, I know how much I am making when I fix my selling price at this amount. So let's reduce the projected number of units that we're selling. Let's use another example. Let's say, oh, spices, or let me put scented candles. So after putting into consideration my cost of making the candle, I decided that, oh, each candle costs let's say, let me put 3,000 naira. Yeah, 3,000 naira. And by the time I did everything, 100. Yes. So markup 0. I'm sorry. If you made a mistake, just press Ctrl Z and you're good to go. Ctrl Z takes you back to the previous action that you've had. Let me show you again. I mistakenly wrote 0 here and I pressed Ctrl Z. It takes it back to the previous state. Okay, so this is where the 0 is meant to be. Okay, if I sell 300 units of scented candles and I've not fixed my selling price yet, I know that I'm just going to sell at 300,000. But once I fix my selling price at, say, 15%, that means I'm making a sales of 345 because I'm selling at 3,450 naira each. So it's reflecting my selling price and also reflects my gross profit that I'm supposed to make. Can you see that this process is straightforward and it shows you how to set your prices easily? So it's left for you to decide, is cost-based pricing template for me? Can I use it for my business, or do I need to consider other forms of pricing strategies? Okay, so we're done with the cost-based pricing template, and we'll be looking at the competition-based pricing, where you'll be able to compare whatever prices that you've set or whatever prices you want to sell based on what your competitors are doing. So see you in the next video. Let's talk about competition-based pricing, and this is a very interesting pricing strategy too for setting prices at a profitable level. You simply use the prices of your competitors as a benchmark for deciding the price of your product. That means you don't have to do any calculation or even calculate any business cost. Just find out how much your competitors are selling and you decide to set your price lower than your competitors or higher than the competitors, or you want to sell the same price, you want to sell at the same price just as your competitors. It's a very good option for highly competitive businesses, where customers compare prices a lot. You have industries like food, like toiletries, daily needs, soft drinks, farming, livestock production, where you know that there is no way before they decide to buy from you, they are comparing prices with somebody else or somebody else in another place or another state, or is a very good option for highly competitive businesses. So how do you use this method? Of course, like I said earlier, you have three options. You can set a price lower than your competitors. You can set the same price as your competitors, or you set a price higher than your competitors. Now, what are the advantages or disadvantages of setting prices at these different levels? If you decide to price lower than your competitors are selling at 7,500 and you want to sell at 7,000 naira, so you have an advantage over them. It means more people are likely to buy from you. But when you compare your profit to your competitors, you know that for every sale you're making, that means you're likely to lose 500 naira extra that you decide to sell lower than them. And to avoid losing profit, you would have to reduce the cost of running your business. That's the amount you spend in running your business, like rent, stationaries, delivery costs, your salaries. You have to reduce the cost of running your business to be able to break even, so that you will not run out of business. That is if you are setting a price that is lower than your competitors using the competition based strategy. Now, if you choose to match the price of a competitor, that means your competitor is selling at 7.5. Yes, so me too, I'm selling at 7.5. It means that your profit margin is not different from your competitors. As your competitors are selling, you are selling your own. But it means that you have to be more creative with your marketing strategies. So you go online, you dance, you do videos, your marketing strategy has to be more creative. You don't just do the regular come and buy my items, or this is what I'm selling. No, you decide to educate your customers, let them know what you can get, so that your customers know that whenever they're coming to you, they're getting value added. If you're able to do that, then you know that you are your competitor. Hey, now competition has just started. You're selling at the same price, but you're likely to sell more than your competitors, even though you are selling at the same price as your competitor. Now, the third option is this. If you now decide to price your goods and services or your product higher than your competitors, your competitor is selling a particular perfume for 6,000 naira, and decide to sell your own bottle of perfume for 10,000 naira. It means you make more profit. Imagine 4,000 naira difference. But you have to be able to justify your price by offering better quality or extra features. So you want to justify your price by putting your product in a fancy packaging, by using fancy packages, or you want to add an extra item to it, or you're adding a booklet or a leaflet that shows them how to use this particular product, or how to make your perfumes last longer. You get that kind of thing. Like, you have to consistently justify your price by offering better quality, and you're convincing your customers to buy from you. You source your product at maybe straight from the manufacturer, or you bring it in from Dubai or a particular location. So it's like you're trying to show that, hey, I'm better than my competitor because my price is higher than your competitor. Now, why should I even use competition based pricing? Of course, I said it's you use it in a place where you use it if you're in a highly competitive industry, highly competitive market, and you don't need to calculate before setting prices. You don't need to calculate, how much is my business cost, or how much is this. You buy a product, you look at how much your customer is selling, your competitor is selling, and you decide to fix your prices. And you have just three options to choose for. So it's really like kind of less stressful, but it could hurt your business. It's like looking consistently at the person ahead of you or beneath you to be able to set prices, to be able to move your business forward. Now imagine it simply means that you are committing your business in the hands of your competitor. If your competitor is not growing, that means you are not growing. If your competitor is making a mistake with his marketing or with his selling or with setting his own prices, that means if you are looking at your competitor before you set your prices, it means you are going to be making the same mistakes too. Relying on competitors could actually limit your growth. So it's left for you to ask yourself again, is competition-based pricing meant for me? does my vision, my mission for setting up this business, does it mean that I have to constantly look at my competitors or look at what my competitors are doing before I get better? It actually reduces your initiative too. But like I said, even if it doesn't work for you, there are some companies that they have to do competition based pricing, because if not, they're going to be out of business in no time. So when we get to the template, when we look at the template, we'll be showing you how competition based pricing actually works, and you'll be able to understand it better. So let's get to it. So we're on to competitor based pricing template, and like I explained earlier, this is a pricing strategy where you are basing your prices using your competitor's price as a benchmark. And who is your competitor? A competitor is a person that is offering the same product that you're offering or something similar. So something that can be used instead of your own product. That is your competitor. And you can price your own product slightly below, the same as, or higher than your competition. So if you're in a highly competitive industry, you may choose this strategy since a slight price difference may be the deciding factor for your customers. So if you're in the FMCG industry, that's consumer goods, provisions, soft drinks, daily needs, you know that it's a very competitive industry. So this is very, very useful for you. So let's quickly run through the template guide. You have the dark colored parts where you have the description, you have a competitor's price, you have your own price, and this is where you compare your competitor's price with your own. And you can see here there is a formula here that shows when your own price is higher than the competition or not. It shows the variances between these two, and there is a unit actual cost that you would have calculated before you come to this point. Then also shows your gross profit, your projected number of units sold. Is it 1 unit? Is it 1,000 units? Is it 50 units? Then your projected sales, your gross profit, and your price difference, and the implication if you decide to set your price below your competitors or the same or even higher than what your competition offers. And you have this point where you can enter your information. These are the gray colored cells, and these let me say slightly deep colored cells are where you have your formulas, and you're advised once again not to tamper with it. So let's get to it. So in this scenario, I'm going to be using a palm slippers, for example. You're somebody, of course, that's handcrafted items. You make shoes by hand, beautiful palm slippers, and your competitor has decided to sells the same pattern or same design of the slippers that you've designed for 20,000 naira for a pair. And you're saying, okay, let me try setting a little below my competitor because that could be an advantage for me and let people come to buy from me. So let's say the impact if you're setting a price below what your competitor is offering and what you can do in this case. So let's say your own price is 15,000 naira. Let's say the impact, and you have made 15,000 naira. Okay, when I saw there 50%, myself shock. 15,000 naira. Okay, so your price is minus 25% or 5,000 naira lower than what your competitor is offering. That's 20,000 minus 15,000. And after doing your own calculation, you've calculated your labor cost, even the guys working for you, you've calculated their own input into it, the leather that you bought, your transport, going to market, all these things, the accessories that you put on it, you added everything together, and you arrive at a unit cost of let me say okay, 9,500. Yes. So your gross profit is actually 5,500, and this is the difference between your own selling price and the actual costs. So how many units did you make? You made, well, limited edition, let's say just 10 units. And so by the time you finish selling those 10 units, you are expecting a sales of at least 150,000. That's 15,000 naira multiplied by the 10 units that you produced. And your gross profit, of course, is your gross profit multiplied by the number of units sold, or your price minus your actual cost multiplied by the number of units sold, and you have 55,000 naira. Let's look at this implication if you're using the competition based pricing method. Don't forget that your price is still 5,000 naira lower than your competition, but you will also be losing 50,000 naira if your price is lower than your competitor. So if you decide to stick with this price, this is how much you will be losing. Are you comfortable with it? Is it okay for you? Let's look at another one. Okay, let's say your price is 18,000 naira. Oh, 20,000 naira if your price is lower than your competitor. Now, if you're selling the same as your competitor, both of you are selling at 20,000 naira. No difference. You're not losing anything. But of course, you know that you have to up your marketing strategies. You have to be able to, tell your customers that, oh, I'm the better option. So let's see the last part. What if you are fixing a price higher than your own competition? You've invested so much in branding, the packaging, is top notch. And you just have to tell your customer, see, this palm slippers, you won't get it anyway. This design is unique. The accessories I put on it, they are to die for. You get those kind of like marketing tactics. And if you're putting your price higher than your competition, you know what you stand to gain. Your own price is 5,000 higher than the competition, and this is the impact. So using this template, you will easily know at a glance what do you stand to gain, how should you price your product if you be doing the competition based pricing, or if you eventually decide to use the competition based pricing, what is the effect, how can it help your business, how can it hurt your business, what do you need to do to up your game and get better, and not just make profit, make sales, but also be able to grow your business. So we're moving on to the last not the last one, we're moving on to customer based pricing, where is also a very interesting one, and I'll see you there. So have you ever been in a kind of situation where you offer product and your customer is like negotiating and pricing and is saying, oh, this is the amount I can pay, or that your price is too high, I can't pay this amount? Okay, if you ever been in this situation, that means what is happening is just simply customer based pricing at basic level. And customer based pricing is where you set your own price based on what you believe customers are willing to pay. Yes, this is a method of pricing. Apart from the fact that you can do cost-based pricing or competition-based pricing, the people that also the businesses that require you to set your prices based on what your customer can afford. Of course, it involves a lot of customer research and negotiation, and you have to know if a particular price is what your customers can pay and will still be profitable for you, because you want to make sure that no matter the price you're quoting for your product, whether it's based on what your customer is saying or not, you are making profit. That's the reason why you're in business. Now you can decide to use this strategy if you sell a product that is in high demand, like people are asking for your product regularly. It means that more customers are looking for that product that you offer, and they won't mind paying higher for that product. And it doesn't matter when you quote a higher price for it, people will always buy. Let's take for example during COVID, when a lot of people were doing DIY hand sanitizer, and there were a lot of companies that wanted to produce these sanitizers and were not given they were not given permission, but a lot of individuals too came up with, oh, if you mix aloe vera with methylated spirit, then you can have and put a bit of essential oil, then you have your hand sanitizer. And I tell you, at that point, methylated spirit became, in fact, it became a spirit. It became very expensive. Something that they sell for, I think, 250 naira jumped to as high as over 2,000 naira, and people were still buying it. You get, it was in high demand. So that was, and even it was so funny that even the pharmacies that were close to us, and we thought, well, they won't bother about, oh, this is the amount that we usually buy. And you go there and you be like, people have increased your product, you've increased your price too. In that case, they're trying to do customer based pricing. When your product is in a high demand, you have no choice to at least fix a price, and you know that people will always buy it. Also, if you sell luxury items that bring in premium customers, if you're selling a Louboutin bag, or a Louboutin shoe, that, in fact, you have to put your price high. You have to set your price high, because if your price goes lower than what customers have been buying it will be like, oh no, this product is fake. Oh, this one doesn't meet up to certain requirements. So if you sell luxury items, you sell designer perfumes, not the copy ones. You sell the designer perfumes, that whatever price you put on it, people will always buy. And this is where customer-based pricing works. So if you sell a product that is in high demand, of course, I said it earlier, more customers are looking to buy your product, and many will not mind to buy it at a higher price. You can even use those higher prices to determine the right price to sell and make more profits. And if you also sell luxury items that bring in premium customers, politicians, big madams, commissioners' wives, those people now that you sell to. If you sell luxury items that bring in premium customers and they buy high quality, they're willing to pay high price for it, you may lose your customers if you price it too low. So depending on the kind of product that you sell, so look at your product line. Is it a luxury item? Is it something that is in high demand? I think you should be considering using customer-based pricing. And the beautiful thing is you earn more profit if your product is in high demand or is a premium product. Of course, if it falls within this category, you're making more money. But the thing is this, you can also lose profit. Like I said, there is where there's advantage, there will always be disadvantages anyway. Of course, there are some times where disadvantages when the advantage will outweigh the disadvantages. But if you're setting prices based on your customers' demand, it might not be reliable, because human needs are insatiable. You want one thing, the next minute another time they want something else. Like I personally have some customers and they say, oh, I want Creed Aventus, it's the one raining now, is a quality perfume. And the next moment Mosuf comes out, they are telling you, oh no, I want Mosuf. Do you have Mosuf? I heard it's smelling nice and it's not as expensive as Creed Aventus. And God bless you if you've already stocked up on Creed Aventus, and like, hey my God, you've lost so much money. So certain prices based on customer demand can be unreliable, and if your product loses its value, your price and profit margin may go down. Now, for somebody that sells designer perfumes, designer items, if you don't store your product properly and it mistakenly loses value, you know that, of course, people will think you're selling fake, and your price and profit margin could go down. So it's left for you to ask yourself, is customer-based pricing for me? Look at the kind of product that you are offering. Does it fit into this category? If it fits into this category and you have been using cost base, you're already on a long thing. Like you've been pricing your product wrongly. So when we get to the template, I'll be able to explain well how customer-based pricing works and what's the implication, and how you can work your way around it. Let's get to it. Customer-based pricing template is like the simplest of them all. Like, not too much calculation. In fact, my explanation is not going to be as much as the other ones. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so you already know how the template guide works by now. Yeah, so let me give you that benefit of doubt. So with customer-based pricing, you set your price based on what you believe that your customers are willing to pay. So if you can charge more for a product, you can decide to set your prices, based on your customers' interest and data. Like, you'll have done a lot of research, know the kind of environment you're selling and who your audience is, who you're selling to. If not, if you're targeting the wrong audience, then you'll be having issues with this pricing. And also, value-based pricing works well in any price-sensitive industry. So even if you're an event planner and you offer services, customer-based pricing is a wonderful option for you. So let's look at your unit selling price. Let me use scented candle again, for example. So you make luxury scented candle, okay? So you put a pack like in a box, and let's say it's like 100,000 naira. 100,000 naira. Yes. And how much is your customer willing to pay? Yes. You live in, of course, highbrow area, and your customer is actually willing to pay 120,000 for that set that you're packing. Hello. So that means if you decide to sell at the price that your customers are willing to pay, and you put your own selling price aside, it means that you're gaining 20,000 naira extra if you're basing your price on what your customer is willing to pay. But if your customer is willing to pay, let's say 80,000 naira, and you were putting your price of that package, beautiful scented candles, you'll be losing 20,000 naira. And okay, let's see, you're thinking of selling, okay, you made everything and you want to sell 50. You have 50 sets. Let's see, just double click here. By the time you're selling at the price that your customer is willing to pay and you leave your own price, that means your total sales will be 4 million naira. That's 80,000. The 80,000 multiplied by 50. But remember that you were losing 20,000 naira because it's actually lower than what you want to sell it for. So if you are basing your price based on what your customer is willing to pay, so let's say your customer is willing to pay the same amount for that product that you're offering, you're not losing anything if you're basing your price on what your customer is willing to pay. If your customer is willing to pay 150,000, you can even walk around it. Let's negotiate. So you know that, okay, even if my customer is willing to pay more or willing to pay less, the variance is not so much from what I am quoting or from what I'm expecting. Of course, if a customer is willing to pay higher, good for you. That means you're gaining a lot. Like in this case, your customer is willing to pay 150,000 while your own price is just 100,000. You're gaining 50,000 naira extra on each pack of scented candles, and hey, you have it. You have a lot of money in your purse. So you can see how customer-based pricing works. And like I said, if you are in a price-sensitive industry, and your product is a luxury and is in high demand, well, you can use this method. See you in the next lesson. So we're at the final strategy for pricing your product profitably, and here we are at the hybrid pricing strategy, and this is just a step-by-step process. From the name hybrid means a combination of two or more strategies after considering both internal and external factors affecting your pricing. So what are the internal factors that are likely to affect your pricing? Of course, the first thing first is your own business cost, and which we have discussed earlier in this course. Your business cost, finding out how much you've actually spent on that product before bringing it to its final state. And external factors that might affect your prices, of course, they're your competitors and the consumers, external people that will be buying from you. Their decisions, their emotions are likely to have effect on your business, and that's why you have to consider them. So the hybrid pricing strategy is just a combination of two or more strategies after considering them. And so this is like a refresher on what we've discussed, but we'll just be combining them together, while we also have the template after this one. So we have a step 1 where you calculate the actual cost of your product, and don't forget, under finding out the actual cost of your product, that was when I talked about you have to consider your material cost, your labor costs. So if you've not listened to that model or that lesson, please go back and listen to it, because that is the basis of everything. Because when you're using the hybrid pricing strategy, whatever you be basing your pricing on is like you're choosing the cost-based strategy plus any other one, because that is actually the basis. You don't want to be selling at a cost that is lower than your actual cost of your product. And this is very, very important. Like I said here, you must know the real cost of your product before you set a price. What is the value of your effort, that's your labor cost, that you've put on that item that you've produced or that you're buying and selling? It is very important. Then you decide the percentage of profit to add to your actual cost, which takes us to the business to the cost-based pricing strategy. You can decide to add 20%, 30%, and you can work around it to know which one will be able to sustain your business in the long run. In some businesses, anything above 20% is considered like an aberration. Your prices are too high. For example, now if you're selling daily needs provisions where you have to have a high turnover, where you have to have a quick turnover, that's a word, a quick turnover. That means you need people to buy from you so that you can go back and restock as soon as possible. There are businesses that depend on a quick turnover. For businesses like that, you know that you can't add too much percentage. You can have a lot of percentage, like 10%, 20% to the pricing of your product, because it is when you now put those profits together in aggregate, when you sum them up, that is when it becomes material, it becomes big money. But those little profits on it, you need them to be able to keep your business running. So depending on the kind of industry that you're in, that would determine the kind of percentage of profit to add to your actual cost. And if this is done correctly, you will set a profitable price for your business. So in this hybrid strategy, I'll be combining the cost-based strategy with the competitor's price. But in the template, we'll be looking at both the competitor's price, that's the competition-based strategy, and combining the cost-based with the consumer-based strategy. So here, this is step 3. You're looking at your competitor's price to determine whether you want to lower your profit margin, or you want to match it to fit into the price of your competitors, or you want to raise your price. And no matter what you do, you are advised, do not lower your price below your actual cost while considering your profit margin, because it's going to affect your business. And when the era of inflation, increasing prices, so you should have an idea of what your actual cost, what your unit actual cost is per time, so that you'll be able to set effective prices even before you decide to compare with your competitor. Funny enough, your competitor might not be up to date with the current prices, and that's why a lot of people get it wrong. You're comparing your price with your competitor. Instead of you to maybe increase it Do you understand? You know, the decision I'm supposed to make, if you're basing on your computer and computer is not up to date, you'll be making a wrong decision. And if you have premium customers or your product is in high demand, of course, you know that you should increase your profit margin. I've discussed it. I've talked about this earlier in the course. And it is very important that you do your extensive customer and market research. Know the audience that you're trying to sell to. What are their preferences? What is their age? Are you trying to service people? Are you trying to service youth or students? Or are you targeting the older generation or working class? When you have an idea of your target audience, then you'll be able to know how best to fix your pricing and how you can serve them better. And I tell you, you do these things, you are going to be smiling to the bank anytime. So following these steps will allow you to combine at least two of the strategies to set a profitable price for your product. That is the reason why you have a business. A business is a venture set out to make profit. Once you're not making profit, then you will soon be out of business. So let's go to the template and let's see how we can compare, how we can combine and combine these strategies together and see, you know, it's going to give us another view to setting our prices. Mind you, it doesn't stop the fact that you can either decide to use cost-based pricing strategy due to the line of your business, or you want to use a competition-based strategy, or you want to use a value-based strategy. It does not disturb. So let's get to it. So we're here to see what the hybrid-based pricing template looks like. And like I said earlier, it's a combination of two or more strategies, but here we'll be looking at all the strategies together to know what suits your kind of business or not. Okay, so template guide. By now you would have known what the template guide is about. So the dark colored part is the description. This part is where you have the formula, contain cells. Then the gray colored part is where you enter your information. So let's get to it. We're using palm slippers again as an example here, handmade palm slippers. And you know, after considering your labor cost, the time spent on making the slippers, the materials you bought, the accessories, you've decided to sell the palm slippers. The actual cost of making that palm slippers is 15,000, and you made 10 units of it. You've not set any price yet. That is why you don't have any profit here. You get? So it's assuming that you're selling at your cost, which means you don't have any money left for anything. So let's set our markup price to be 50%. And you see, that means you have a unit selling price for 22,500 naira. So if we set our price at 22,500 naira, that means by the time we finish selling these 10 pairs of palm slippers, we'll have a profit of 75,000. So it depends on, okay, how quickly do I want to sell these things? Do I just run ads, or just, you know, contact my regular customers and tell them, oh, I have this new pair of slippers and it would be nice if you had it to your collection? You know, you're looking for a quick way to just, you know, sell it off fast. Okay, so this is what we have. We want to compare with your competition. Yes, somebody within your area, within your industry, and your competitor is selling that same pair of slippers for 25,000 naira. Okay, and your price is still 22,500. So at 22,500, your price is minus 10%, or 2,500 naira lower than your competition, and your gross profit is 75,000 naira, but you stand to lose 25,000 naira. You get? That means your competitor is making 25,000 naira more than you, selling at a price higher than you. So what do you do? You're so conscious of what your competitor is at the price your competitor is selling at, and you want to sell at you want to change it. Let's say you want to sell at 26,000 naira. You get your profit margin automatically. It can't be 50% anymore. Like it's more than this. Like you get it's more than this, and you're gaining 10%. You're gaining 10,000 naira more than your competitor if you're selling at this price. So let's just take it back to 22,500, which is our original price, and this is how it looks like if you're selling at your cost-based price and you're comparing it with your competitor, and you've decided not to change your pricing. Like let me just leave it like that. That means just using cost-based. Do you get? But if you're going to be increasing it, if you're going to be increasing this amount from 22,500, that means you've considered the cost-based method, but you're adding to it because of what your competition is offering. What is your customer saying? Let's look at it. Okay, you live in a highbrow area and your competitor, after doing your research, this your competitor is actually online. It's somebody's page that you admire and you think a lot of people are flocking, they're buying from him. You get, so you're basing your own price based on that. So this your competitor is online, but you are offline again, and in your area they're willing to pay 27,000 for that pair of shoes. Okay, this is your own price is still 22,500. Your customers are willing to pay 27,000. Whoa, that means you're gaining more if you were selling based on what your customer is willing to pay. So it's all about research, going back and forth and looking at what actually suits your business. There's some businesses that you don't even bother about your competition. You're on your own lane, you get, but you want to know how much can my customer pay for this thing. Will I be able to sell fast and quickly restock and turnover? You want to consider these things, and even no matter the strategy that you eventually use, of course that you have to up your marketing game. So in this case, you can decide to, of course, use your cost-based pricing, and of course you jettison your competition, because what your customer is saying is higher than what your competitor is offering. So in this case, you've combined the cost-based and your customer-based strategy together. But if the reverse is the case, like if your customers are willing to pay even lower than what your competitors are offering, or lower than your own costs, that means that, in fact, maybe you have to review your audience, and serve people that will be able to pay that amount or even more for your products and services. But that no matter what, whether you're choosing your cost-based or competition-based or customer-based or hybrid pricing, you must not go below your business costs. So you've come to the end of the course. During the time spent here, you've learned what pricing is all about and why it is very important in your business. Using 3 different scenarios, you've also learned to calculate the actual cost of your products, whether you resell or you make your own products. From there, you learn the different strategies you can use to set prices in your business, and most importantly, how to combine the strategies in a hybrid model, which is more effective in setting prices in your business. Thank you for being a part of the course. Bye.